welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday, and previewing and reviewing the latest shows from WWE, AEW, New Japan, and everything in between every Saturday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I am, of course, your host, James J., and it's a great day for wrestling. Because we are wrestling with us. Um, yeah, flying solo once again. But it was a good week for Wrestling With as we interviewed Warsaw on Tuesday and Kid Lat on Wednesday. Great interviews from both individuals. Definitely go out of your way to check those out in our archives if you haven't already checked them out. But always looking to the future. This upcoming Tuesday, we have Joe Bravo, and not the one that we interviewed from Austria. This one's from Puerto Rico. A veteran of the business, almost 30 years in the business. We talk about his time wrestling in Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, being Dominican himself. We talk about some matches against a legend, some legends such as Booker T, Jerry Lynn, Savio Vega. We talk about a missed adventure with Scott Hall and Sabu. Definitely a lot of great content in that interview for sure. And then this upcoming Wednesday, we have Mo Kelly, a part of Paradigm, the Dord member. We talk about Paradigm, getting into deathmatch wrestling, being a singles wrestler, being a tag team wrestler, title victories. We talk about his mom being in concessions for the events that he's in. We talk anime. We talk about the Freak Demon. We talk all things Mo Kelly, and um, it's definitely an interview you want to go check out when it drops this Tuesday. Alright, and then on the 31st, we have Class Kincaid, and on April 1st, it is not an April Fool's joke, we have Mayari on the show. So you can check out our social medias, Wrestling with E, for information on when we're interviewing people, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. And yeah, now that we're done putting ourselves over, we're never done, James. Who was that? I don't even know. I'm hearing voices at this point. Um, it was a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with the news. And maybe it wasn't so great of a day for wrestling as we lost an absolute legend, Chuck Norris. Um, Absolute legend has died, has passed away. He was known for his action movies, his time as a martial artist, and he had a one brief stint in WWE where he was the special guest enforcer for the match between Undertaker and Yokozuna's casket match. Um, his only WWE appearance, but it's definitely still a memorable one. Considering of how massive a star he was. I mean, a lot of people, um, love and respected Chuck. A massive badass as well. You don't mess with Chuck Norris. And yeah, now they're figuring that out in heaven. Our thoughts and prayers go out to his friends and family. Fantastic individual. And yeah. Speaking of elderly people, Ted DiBiase Jr. Ted DiBiase Jr. was acquitted of all charges that he was charged for. Um, he was not guilty on 13 counts of fraud against the elderly. He apparently stole money from elderly people that was in the amount of 14 million, I believe. I could have that number wrong, but the $1 million kid free. So no charges there, will not be arrested. He was looking up to 14 years in prison. So yeah, in the words of his dad, everybody's got a price. um, I'm not here to speculate, but I mean, it is a good time. It would be a good time for him to maybe get back with where Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes is in their rivalry. But I could also imagine WWE doesn't really want to touch him, considering, the bad press that he's had as of late. Um, Speaking of Randy Orton, he explained himself on Friday last night on his actions against Cody Rhodes, and he beat up Matt Cardona, which the crowd was very gleefully into it, cheering Randy Orton. Yeah, Randy Orton could, like I said, decapitate somebody in the middle of the ring, and the crowd would go cuckoo bananas for it. He's grandfathered in, and it's just dumb that they would think somebody as insignificant as Matt Cardona would get people to boo Randy Orton. Like, he could kick a puppy. He can throw an old woman out of a window. He could commit murder, and nobody would do a ding. They would say chant one more time. And that's just the way it is. It was dumb to think that they could get Randy Orton to get booed. It's just not happening. We also have new tag team champions. R-Truth and Damian Priest captured the tag team championships on Friday last night. SmackDown last night. Good for them, I suppose. I don't think Damian Priest is doing himself any favors being in the tag division, but that's, my opinion on the matter. Um, but yeah, it seems like they are on the highway to WrestleMania at this point. I mean, there's no guarantees that they have a match, but going in as champions, I can't say that there's not a good shot that they won't be there. Get as many people on the card, considering we only have like 5 matches, confirmed, and there's supposed to be 14. Um, so yeah, we'll um we'll see what happens with them as tag team champions. The fifth match I was mentioning was indeed Brock Lesnar and Oberfemi, or confirmed at this point. And yeah, it was a big moment on Raw. And yeah, massive pop for Oba. Oba, I haven't heard somebody get a pop like that in a really long time. And it was because Oba sewed up and sewed off. And apparently Brock even told him, "Put your foot on my chest," just to kind of ring in home, how powerful of a person Oba is. And I mean, some people will, shit on Brock Lesnar. Um, People don't really need a reason. But he Brock can be very giving when he wants to give to somebody, when he actually believes in somebody and wants to put him over. So for him to tell Oba, "Put your foot on me," I mean that's a stamp and approval in itself. And I kind of feel like Oba should have a really good chance of beating Brock at Mania. He should. Um, like I said the last couple of weeks, it does Brock no service to actually beat Oba. It will do a world of good for Oba to pin Brock. Speaking of WrestleMania, obviously this year, Las Vegas for the second time in a row. Next year, Saudi Arabia, or is it? Um, you could go somewhere else to talk about, to hear about the issues that are happening in the Middle East. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there myself. Maybe we'll do wrestling with, world news at some point, but that's definitely not tonight. But a lot of crazy stuff is going on in the Middle East right now. And there is impending suspicion that WWE might have to cancel their Saudi Arabia show in June because of this impending war. Um, the Formula One already dropped their trip to Saudi Arabia. So I feel like it's already kind of in the cards, and if this gets full blown out, then WrestleMania will definitely not be in Saudi Arabia as well. Um, I mean that's a year away. Anything could happen until then, but I'm sure they're optimistic about it. But again, there could be a war that starts now and ends in a couple of weeks. There could be another war that starts a couple of weeks before WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. Who knows at this point? The world's a crazy place. Um, I would say that it's a good. You wouldn't necessarily get this problem if you did WrestleMania in the States, or dare I just say, North America in general. Or, maybe not a country that has swords or machine guns on their flags. I'm just saying. Um, but yeah, WrestleMania may not take place there, which would be very controversial. Um, and I would like to see what they kind of do if they can't do it in Saudi Arabia. Will it be in the States? Will they do in UK WrestleMania? Will they do it in Jerusalem? Who knows? We don't know. WWE's just, I say WWE, but TKO, just pulling shit out of their ass at this point when it comes to, the money grab and all of that. I mean, that's the only reason WrestleMania took place in Saudi, is taking place in Saudi, is because, they want the money grab. They paid them an obscene amount of money. It'd be hilarious if they didn't actually come through with that and couldn't actually do the show. But that's just my opinion on it. Switching back to WrestleMania this year, Dennis Rodman, going into the Hall of Fame, definitely well deserved. A memorable part of WCW back in the day, sided with the NWO, Hulk Hogan, um, wrestled Diamond Dallas Page and another basketball basketball player that's escaping my mind right now. But yeah, a memorable figure. obviously had a match in WCW, never stepped foot in a WWE ring, but they're desperate for people to get into an attraction for the Hall of Fame, so it makes sense that they go with um Dennis Rodman. As for who inducts him, I think this would be great if Hulk Hogan. Oh wait, no, can't be Hulk Hogan. Um oh, Scott Hall. Oh no, did did Nash have any interactions with Dennis? Maybe. I mean, they they both played basketball at one point. Oh, I know. Oh, how about Kim Jong Un? Kim Jong Un can definitely induct um Dennis Rodman into the Hall of Fame. He'd gladly do it. They're good pals and chums. And maybe we'll even see WrestleMania in North Korea next year. If the whole Saudi Arabia thing doesn't work out. And don't think WWE wouldn't take that fucking money if it didn't show up. And speaking of WrestleMania, one thing that was on the rumor and innuendo list was who is Randy Orton talking to on the phone? He did an impromptu interview with Michael Cole on Monday where he was on the phone with somebody. And then the same thing kind of happened on Friday as well. Um, some people are saying Ric Flair. I don't think it's Ric Flair. Um, some people are saying it's the final boss. The Rock. Which God, I hope it's not. I don't think Randy Orton needs The Rock, and I don't think The Rock needs Randy Orton. Um, e- Especially if The Rock isn't going to come through on an actual payoff. Like he hasn't in the past, so I can't necessarily, get behind The Rock being in a storyline if he's not actually going to do anything. Um, Another name that would make sense is Cowboy Bob Orton, which I wouldn't be mad at. I love good old fashioned Bob Orton. So yeah, that would be cool. Another interesting name is Shane McMahon. That would be interesting considering we don't have any McMahons actively in the company. So to try and maybe do maybe a little, invasion angle, that would be interesting. Um, I don't know, but I would like it to be Shane McMahon selflessly. That would be pretty cool. I don't think anything significant is going to come out of it. Maybe a legend appearance, but I don't think we're going to get like a major, reveal, like a plot point in the story with Randy and Cody. So I think it's just something to maybe draw people off the scent, if that makes sense. I mean, he's going to one main event of WrestleMania to the other main event of WrestleMania. Punk um got his had his first altercation with Roman Reigns on Raw, where he punched him after Roman called him old. I mean, considering that Punk told Roman that he's going to bury him next to his father, and Roman had no reaction, and then Punk gets called old, and that's enough to provoke him. These scales are not balancing, in my opinion. It doesn't necessarily make sense, honestly. I feel like they could have did more, and they wanted to do more, but um, it's rumor and innuendo that Punk didn't feel comfortable bringing up Larry, his dog that passed away in November, in the storyline. Um, I'm not going to say that he's not warranted for not wanting to do that. I mean, I get it. Everybody grieves differently, and, obviously Larry was a big part of his life and his family. But, I mean, when you bring up somebody's dad that didn't pass away all that long ago, but you feel insecure about having your dog brought up, I mean, you kinda, don't dish it out if you can't necessarily take it. And I mean, Punk is a notorious shit talker. He always crosses, well, not always, but he does cross the line a lot of times. So for him to say, he didn't feel comfortable, getting personal, I would say it's a bit of a contradiction, if I'm being honest. Again, no slack on him for not wanting to bring Larry into the fold. But, if you don't want to bring Larry into the fold, don't bring up, people's dead dads into the fold either. You know, Lines need to be crossed in order to make things, pop a bit more in the storyline. And I emphasize the storyline. This it's all, kayfabe, it's all, a work, it's a storyline. He's Romans isn't actually going to, shit on your dog, in real life. It's just, a work. And for him to not be able to separate that, that kind of sucks, honestly. But, it is what it is. I mean, the build ups for that match has been okay. Not necessarily particularly the best build up for a WrestleMania match, but it has been better than others as well. So, to each their own, I guess. And I suppose it's better than what Gunter's got going on right now, which is absolutely nothing. Um, Supposedly, Gunter was supposed to have a match with Rey Mysterio, but Rey Mysterio is injured, which leaves Gunter up in the air. No clear direction on who he could wrestle. Um, I mean, I would even say that the match against Rey Mysterio would low key kind of suck because, I mean, what could Gunther really do with Rey? Like, legitimately, like, that's a Brock Lesnar versus Rey Mysterio scenario. So unless he was actually, low key going to retire him, I don't really see the attraction of that match. Um, that being said, I mean, they could have extended the stuff with Dragon Lee. That would have, it was getting some traction, I would say, but, maybe not a full-fledged WrestleMania match, but, considering, we have a lot of break glass in case of scenarios this year, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. Brock is busy with Oba. Um, so I mean, I question what they could have done with Gunter. Like, who do you put him against? I mean, it's a good question. I mean, they could put him with LA Knight, I suppose, but I mean, they're not really in rivalry. They could like make some type of bullshit scenario where they get into a rivalry, but I don't really see anything, significant coming out of that up until Mania. Um, Jacob is busy with Drew. I mean, they could do a SmackDown versus Raw match, but again, who do you put on the bracket for SmackDown against Gunter? I mean, they could do Dragunov Gunter. That would be a fucking banger. Not like they haven't had bangers in the past. But, I mean, that would low-key suck considering, what he's been able to do in the last couple of months with, ending John Cena's career and then ending AJ Styles' career. Not being able to get to WrestleMania and have a match at Mania? That would absolutely suck. Like, that is a moment of dropping the ball as hard as you possibly can. Like, the New Day would be, you know, has been a big ball drop because, obviously they were banking on, Big E to come back at some point to fight them. That obviously never manifested, which, dropped the ball with the New Day. But I would say that this would actually trump it. You put all of that time and effort into Gunter, and then you don't give him a match at WrestleMania? Like, what the fuck? I'm not into it. I don't like that. Um, whatever direction they're going in, um, there is a new director for WWE. Um, nobody that I know or is, you know, I don't want to say significance, but like I don't know who he is, so I couldn't really tell you what he's done. Um, but yeah, there's a new director. We'll see what he does. Um, I'm sure there will be a difference when it comes to, how things are shot. Whether or not that's good or bad, we shall see. Speaking of good and bad, very bad, very not nice. Ricochet in the hottest of waters. Um, we'll get into the specifics in our review, but um, he lost oh, the national champion. He lost the belt at Revolution. He drew a fit backstage. They uploaded that content to online on X, where a fan commented, "Well, his acting hasn't improved." Taking a shot at the melodramatic bad acting of Ricochet. This fan had on her profile something on the lines that she was a baseball fan, and I'm paraphrasing here, but something on the lines that she's trying not to let MS control her life. Um, MS, multiple sclerosis. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Ricochet took it upon himself to comment on what this fan had said to him. Not about, what she said, not, telling that fan off, not being a heel, just being the worst possible human being of all time. He, and I quote, said, "I'm glad you got MS." And there's some things you say as a heel and you could get away with it. I don't even think MJF could get away with saying something so fucking horrible. Like, legitimately, like, Ricochet, fuck you. Like, that's such a horrible thing to tell somebody. You know, even to go into to to even have the time, like, where does this guy have all this time to look at people's bios and then attack them using their their illnesses against them, their disabilities, anything like that. That's so horrible. Like, that's not a heel. That's just a terrible fucking human person. Like, I mean, if you want to be a heel, like, tell them off. Like, F you. You don't know nothing. Like, tweet something else. Like, go away. Block them if you really don't like it. But to say something as terrible as that you're glad that somebody has a disease, like, that's terrible. And, you know, AEW, you can get away with a lot in that company, but clearly even Tony Khan has his limits. And this is a guy that told Andrade, don't get in a fight with Sami Zayn. Then Andrade proceeded to punch Sami Zayn. No repercussions. Then you have him saying, "Hey, Andrade, are you clear to wrestle?" And then Andrade saying yes when he clearly was not cleared to wrestle. Um, it seems like there's a lot. Tony Khan has a high tolerance for bullshit. Obviously, um, Tony Khan was not happy. AEW was not happy, and Warner Brothers was not happy about what Ricochet said. Some are saying that he apologized on his own. I don't think that he actually did. Some people are saying that he's going to be off TV for some time, um, and taking some sensitivity classes. I don't know if that's the case. Some people are saying that he's on the cusp of getting fired. I don't know how true that is, but you know, clearly this guy needs to keep his mouth shut. Somebody, even told him on Twitter, you have a hot wife, you're a well-known professional wrestling across the world, and you're so you're so insecure. And I mean that's 100% accurate. Like, only insecure people respond to online trolls. And I'm not saying that the person that said that about him, you know, is a troll or anything like that. But, obviously people will talk shit online. And if you respond to them, then they will continue doing it because they know they can get under your skin and they could, get to you and they could invoke a response from you. And I mean, Ricochet has been cooked more times on Twitter than. I mean, he's been cooked so many times that he's been burnt to a crisp. He doesn't take criticism. He can't take criticism. He is very insecure. And these cross outs that he's been having have been more frequent than none. I mean, so bad to the point where he's telling people that they deserve to have diseases. And AEW is actually picking up. MJF drew a, a soda on a child, and there was no repercussions for that. We didn't even hear that Tony Khan was angry at it. But this even bothered Tony Khan when it came to, his comments, because it's so, horrible. And AEW has done outreaches and charity work with people with disabilities. So, it doesn't necessarily look good for AEW, hey, we're all inclusive. People with hearing disabilities, we have headphones for you. But this one guy that works for us said that he's glad this person has MS. Like, yeah, no, that it doesn't work that way. Um, so yeah, it's not. I would say that AEW should maybe consider firing him if this is something a continuing trend, and it has been, and it's only gotten worse, as time to progress. What is he going to say next? And that's the scary part. People become liabilities at some point, and I would say Ricochet is not as much trouble as he's worth. So, from AEW's side, not saying that they should, but, maybe it's time to cut ties. Speaking of people with disabilities, Tom Brady, he did some type of interview where some type of interviewee asked him, how many pro wrestlers would it take to take you down on a football field? Um, Tom Brady proceeded to, talk shit about pro wrestlers and say all their stuff is so cute and scripted. There's no fake BS in football. Which is kind of rich coming from Tom Brady, considering that he was involved in a deflation of balls scandal. So, if anybody knows about fake shit, it's fucking Tom Brady. Fuck that guy. I mean, WWE was thinking about using him, um, but I would imagine that they would be retracting that decision as of now. Um, if you don't really respect the craft, you should, comment on it. And yeah, just like legitimately, like, fuck that guy. I mean, even if he came into WWE, I mean, what impact would he have? He has all the personality of a wet paper bag, and he's the stupidest motherfucker in the world because he let go of his entire family for a fucking football, to because he felt he needed to matter more. But I mean, I'm getting off topic with that commentary. We don't need Tom Brady in WWE. We don't need Tom Brady around pro wrestling. Let him be his little football self and alone and doing his thing, and let the pro wrestlers pro wrestle. Uh Going back to AEW news, Hangman Adam Page is taking time off as of right now. Um, his contract with AEW actually expires in the summer. Um, with everything that happened on Saturday, there is speculation that he may be leaving the company. I don't think so, honestly. Like, I feel like Hangman Page is one of those guys that nobody really wants other than AEW. I don't see WWE making him an offer. I don't see where New Japan would feel like a Hangman Page would balance the scales for them. TNA, I mean, TNA is all inclusive at this point. Like, I mean, they might take him, but like, I mean, it's not necessarily going to change anything for their company if they had a Hangman Page. I don't imagine that he'd be making more money in TNA than he is in AEW. So I don't know if that would be Yeah. I I mean there's speculation, but I don't think that there's any credible source to actually say that he's going somewhere else. Again, I don't think WWE would want him. The only reason they would want him is to take him away from AEW, and I think that he kind of already, you know, whatever reputation he had, he destroyed it himself. I mean, he's not necessarily calling people out on their disabilities or anything, but he's not necessarily doing himself any favors when he opens his mouth either. And with him in, the back seat right now, somebody completely out of the car is a one Toni Storm. She will be taking an extended leave of time to deal with an injury written off TV. Um, it's undisclosed of what she may have, but they do see that she's going to be out for a while. Which sucks because obviously, she's one of the bigger attractions in AEW at this point. So no Toni Storm, is going to do them damage. But, I would say that wouldn't be a bad idea for Toni to kind of, go away for a couple of months, get a new fresh paint of coat on her, and have the people be happy to see her again. I don't think that they were trying on her at any point, but um, you know, it's always nice to have that, um, happy to see you back, pop. So I think it would be, you know, good for her to take that time off as well. So, hoping the best for Toni Storm, whatever, may be going on with her. All right, I believe that's it for the news for this week. And now a quick word from our sponsors.
So, Rogue Energy, the only gaming drink company in the world with four unique product lines to suit your task at hand, whether it be juices, shakes, smoothies, and everything else in between. Their low calorie, no sugar energy formula is the perfect alternative to sugar filled canned energy drinks and sodas. Their extreme formula provides the most energy, focus, and sports performance possible. Their hydration line offers focus, ingredients without the added caffeine. Drink it anytime you're thirsty. And their shake formula is so delicious. Who doesn't love a cookies and cream, 0 calorie energy milkshake? First and foremost, they've designed every Rogue product line with performance and effectiveness in mind. It is critical that you look at the nutrition panels of drinks when comparing options. There are countless off brands out there that are presenting low quality, poorly dosed formulas that amount to expensive caffeine water. Every formula they produce is designed with optimal levels of high quality ingredients. Additionally, you won't find a powdered gaming drink brand that dissolves better. No need to have chalky textures in your drink. Their taste profiles are unmatched, specifically designed for gamers, athletes, students, entrepreneurs, people with hectic schedules, individuals with low energy, podcasters who can't shut up, people who are health conscious, and so much more. Great as both a pre workout and as a coffee energy drink replacement. Specifically designed every Rogue product line to be the best gaming drink on the planet. Rogue energy, more focus, more win.
Use promo code WrestlingWithE for 10% off your next purchase. And we are wrestling with AEW Revolution. Took place last Saturday on at Los Angeles, California, at the formerly known as the Staples Center Arena. Attendance was 12,590. Definitely a good modest crowd for AEW event. Not in they said it was sold out, but that's not full capacity for For the Staples Center. I believe Staples Center could hold up to 17,000 people. So I mean a good modest crowd for sure, but still. Just have to throw that out there. And yeah, this show was so long. It's still going on. That's why Kaliko's not with us this week. He's still at AEW um Revolution. He's still there, still in the crowd, still cheering. So yeah, I mean, it took me, fuck me, it took me 3 days to actually finish this show. And yeah, it was a show. No, I didn't watch the pre-show, so that excluded three matches. Technically two, because the third match went into the. I felt this show was really long. Like I said, it took me 3 days to finish it. 4.5 hours is a big commitment at this point. Um, it was AEW doing AEW stuff. I could appreciate where they, pulled off all the stops and they had, a lot of surprises. But then it just kind of becomes, if there's a surprise in every single match, that means there's been no surprises on the whole show. If that makes sense to you. Um, yeah, so that's kind of how I felt about that. But yeah, let's get into it. First match out. The show started with the ending of the Blackjack Battle Royal for the national championship. Jack Perry defeated Ricochet to end the match at the beginning of the show. It only lasted 5 minutes on the actual show of the show. So 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 so. Um, but yeah, I'm really getting sick of AEW. You gotta you have to pay for the finish, pal. Uh, like if it's on the pre-show, let it just be on the pre-show. Give the people, the result. Don't need to join a match impromptu as they're going on air every fucking time they have a paid preview. It's kind of getting boring. I get that they tried it once and it actually worked once. But just because something works once doesn't mean that you should repeatedly do it over and over again. The only saving grace was that it was maybe like 5 minutes on the actual card, so I'm not necessarily too mad at it. Hate both guys. Wondering why Jack Perry reformed his tag team with Luchasaurus so he can be a singles champion. Makes no absolute sense to me, but AEW logic for you. Um, can I really rate this? 2 stars, I suppose. Um, that goes into our first proper match of the show. AEW World Tag Team Championship match. Fuck the Revival. Dax Hardwood and Cass Wheeler defeated the Young Fucks, Matt and Nicholas Jackoff, in 18 minutes and 50 seconds. Um, I thought it was a sweet little moment when the Bucks came out with all of their kids, getting that California hometown pop. Um, so yeah, they really hammed it up for the crowd. The crowd was into it for obvious reasons. I thought that there was unnecessary use of blood, but okay. Um, I thought that the match should have ended at the point where Stokely held one of their I think it was, yeah, Nick's leg, so they wasn't able to do the Meltzer driver, and FTR hit um what do they call that? Big Rig. Big Rig? Yeah, let's go with that. Um if that would have been the ending of the match, I would have said Chef's Kiss, 4 stars. But being the Young Bucks and, so self indulgent, the match had to continue for another 10 minutes. And fuck me. Why did it need to continuously go? There was literally no fucking reason for it other than they wanted to. They wanted, all the false finishes, all the, you know, all the dramatics. And I mean, they got it, but, it soured me on the match because it was not needed. They could have finished 5 minutes earlier and it would have had the same effect if they would have gone home when they did. So yeah, not definitely not impressed with this match. Um I did call this match. I did say FTR was going to win, and the third thing I said about this match was they wasn't going to drop the titles until Edge and Christian came back. And guess what? Edge and Christian came back at the end of the match. So yeah, wasn't the worst match on the card. 3 stars. Um, Next match we have everyone is banned from ringside match. Toni Storm defeated Marina Shafir in 9 minutes 50 seconds. Got in, got out quickly, did what it needed to do in the time allowed it. Um, Made Marina look um, strong with and still beating her at the same time. Um, Then you had Ronda Rousey come in at the end, and people are saying that she's a part of the company now. I didn't see anything official. I would say that was just kind of running. And with Toni Storm now injured, I don't see what they would be doing with Ronda at this point. Now, obviously, your big attraction is Ronda versus Toni, and that's obviously not going to happen as of right now. I mean, she called her back. Ronda got into the ring. She called Toni back into the ring, who was on the ramp at this point. Toni got back in the ring, and then security and the referees got broke them up, even though there wasn't any signs of any type of altercation between the two of them. They did not throw fists. They didn't even seem like they were in a position to throw fist. Like they were just looking at each other seriously. It was kind of weird that, all of that was just done to invoke Marina getting a bit of comeuppance against Toni and hitting her in the back, while everybody was kind of distracted. Um, don't really know why we needed that, but it was on the card. But yeah, I don't really know what to do with that. Um, if we're just talking about the match itself, I give it 3.5 stars. It did what it knew what it was, it knew what it needed to do, and it did it and it executed. Everything with Ronda Rousey, maybe not so much. Um, just a weird segment. Um, Speaking of transitions, the transition to that into the next match was really weird because as Marina was making her way to the back through the crowd, Moxley was making his way to the ring for his match, which kind of didn't give him the proper, pop that he could have had if they would have just, played his music. Again, very weird. Bad, you know, transition, in my opinion. But that was the transition into the no time limit match for the AEW Continental Breakfast Championship. John Moxley defeated Cold Kutska, takes Shida in 23 minutes 25 seconds. It was a match on the card, I suppose. I mean, I don't see what losing to Moxley did for Konosuke. I don't see what beating Konosuke did for Moxley. Um, it was just, it was long for no other reason than it needed to be long. They needed to be over 20 minutes to say, oh, they went over the time limit. Oh my god. Um, to justify not having a time limit on the match. Um, there was blood, so that sucked. God forbid Moxley be in a match without blood, but I digress. And then yeah, it was just, random John Moxley bullshit. And then Will Ospreay came out and attacked the Death Riders and John Moxley. Despite being a good John Moxley again, um Will Ospreay is coming after Will Moxley because he's the one that supposedly put him on the shelf, even though he had to go for surgery anyway. I don't know. But yeah, his targets are on Moxley, even though they're both faces. I kind of get where, it makes perfect sense for Will Ospreay to want to get after Moxley after, he believes he put him on the shelf, but it doesn't make sense when that guy is now, seeing the error of his ways and turning a new leaf and trying to be a good John Moxley again. The match as a whole, I would say 3 stars, but Konosuke had blood, so 2.5. Alright, we have Divine Dominion, Megan Payne and Lena Cross defeating the Babes of Rat to capture the AEW Women's Tag Team Championships in 5 minutes. Damn, the Golds do not get a lot of time on these cards. You know, the men, get all of the mental masturbation, and the girls get no masturbation. No. Whereas give women a chance, or give divas a chance, or give AEW women a chance. Like shit. Um, Tony gets 9 minutes. Babes of Wrath get 5 minutes. John Moxley gets 25 minutes. The Young Bucks gets 20 minutes. Like, you could have saved at least 2 minutes of time off of both of those matches and gave the Babes of Wrath 7 minutes or 10 minutes. It's just, so self-indulgent, it's not even funny. But yeah, like the Toni Storm match, got in, got out. did what it needed to do. Made sense because Lena lost the first match on the pre-show card, so I couldn't make Lena look like the biggest fucking loser in all of AEW. So, give her a belt here. Um, I don't know what that does for them winning tag team gold, especially Megan. Um, but I mean, they're women's tag team champions now. So I mean, Tony definitely feels like it means something to someone somewhere in the world. Um, you know, you know what? A star a minute, 5 stars. If you don't entertain yourself, nobody will. AEW definitely won't do it. All right, we have Swivel Strickland defeating Brody Burger King and 14 minutes 50 seconds. I actually like this match. I think Swerve did a really good job of upplaying, Brody King as a monster, and him being the heel and trying to get his best comeuppance against Brody. The crowd was into this. The crowd's into Brody for sure. Um, Definitely has that babyface energy. Um, they did a lot of shenanigans. And at the end, Swerve got the W. Was going to put Brody King's head through a brick. How dare he? Um, and then Kenny Omega came out and made the save, renewing their rivalry when he tried to take Kenny out. So, are you sensing the theme here? Edge and Christian came out after um, the FTR match. Ronda Rousey came out after Toni Storm's match. Uh, Osprey came out after Moxley's match. Only the Girls Tag Team match didn't get a run in. Um, I mean, it sucks to them that they didn't feel that they were important enough, but I digress. But yeah, um, I felt that this worked for whatever reason. 3 stars? No, 3.5. 3.5 stars. I feel like that's a significant, a good amount for these guys. Right. We have a 2 out of 3 falls match for the AEW Women's Championship match. Cluck 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 defeated Chris Statlander 2-1 in 17 minutes 30 seconds, and I actually really liked this match. I thought the girls really did a good job on this one. Um, you know, Tekla getting the dirty W on the force to be one up on Chris. Chris getting a clean W on Claw 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 for the second, and then the shenanigans catching up to Chris and the end. She got some comeuppance against Claw Claw. Um, um, she got to whip her with the belt. The referee got up, said, "Hey, you can't do that." The Claw took you know advantage of the distraction, got the 1 2 3 on Chris. Great heel move. Um, Still showed Chris Statlander in a great light. The girl is a star, and she needs we need to give this girl her flowers because she does work really hard for this company, and she's actually putting on like the legitimately only good matches on the card. And I feel like it kind of just gets buried under all of this, bullshit. This was arguably the best match on the card, in my opinion. There was psychology. They wrestled. They didn't do anything, relatively crazy. It was as cut and dry of a traditional, 2 out of 3 falls match that you should have. And I think that they executed it very well. I I will give this 4.5 stars. This was again the best match on the card, in my opinion. Right. That brings us to trios match for the AEW World Trios Championship. Mystico and Jet Speed, Speed Testicle Mike Bailey, and Kevin Knight defeated Kazuchika Okaya, Kyle Flatulence, and no insulting nickname Mark Davis. In 17 minutes 10 seconds. Did not need this match to go as long as it did for whatever reason. It went 17 minutes. I have no fucking idea. Um, but yeah, it doesn't. It was a match on the card. It happened. It was too long. Um, I get they wanted Mystico on the card, but they could have did it like this. Could have been the 5 minute match, and could have gave the Babers of Rat, a little bit more time and a little bit more grace. But I digress. Um, yeah, and I felt like there was no. It was just a. It was just a match, honestly. Um, yeah, I can't really say anything other than it was your random dynamite match on a pay preview card. 2 and 7/5. Like, I don't really want to give this a 3, but I don't think it was as bad to give it um a 2.5. Yeah. Then we have Andrade El Idaho defeating Dito in 21 minutes. Fuck me, that match went 21 minutes. I could not tell you because I did not watch this match. I needed something to speed up and less of a fuck I could not give about Bandito or Andrade. So if I'm not invested, if I do not give a flying fuck about something, then I'm probably not going to watch. And these guys did not give me any flying fucks to give. So, yeah. Um, 2 fast forward bars ahead. Then we have a Tornado Trios match. We have Debbie Allen, freshly pooped Orange Cassidy, and Roderick Strong defeating the Dogs. David Finley, Gabe Kidd, and Clark Connors in 12 minutes, 25 seconds. The best thing I could say about this match is that it was quick. 13 minutes in and out. Um, I mean, it was, crazy Darby shit, crazy. Apparently, tornado means, no disqualifications. I did not get that before, but again, it's AEW. So that makes perfect sense for them. So yeah, I'm surprised that Darby and company actually won. Not saying that I'm mad at it by any means, just saying I'm surprised. Can't really say much more about it, honestly. It was a match on the card. And obviously, they don't think too much highly of David Finlay if they didn't give him a W in his first month in the company. And he's always taken L's, but, I digress. I heard his brother's doing really well in Bortwright right now with his father actually, with them. Um, so yeah, it was less than the trios match. 3 stars. Did anybody bleed in that match? I can't remember. Then we have the main event. Um, 4 hours, 3.5 hours, honestly, into the show. And then we're going to have a 45-minute match to end it all. I'm sure that people are fighting sleep at this time. They've been there for 5 hours, like in total, and like fuck me. But yeah, I don't see where like people had energy to give after this point, unless like they they sprayed cocaine into the arena to get people active and jumping again. I mean, it's just too much, and people have families to go to back to. Like, my God, man, what's your humanity? Texas death match. Um, if Hangman Page loses, he will never challenge for the AEW World Championship ever again. MJF defeated Hangman Page in 46 minutes and 20 seconds. I mean, they literally did shit just for the sake of doing shit. Honestly, like they literally threw the kitchen sink at each other for the sake of throwing the kitchen sink into each other. Like the, I would say the biggest, most distasteful spot was when they did the dumb tack jack, spot with the syringe in Hangman's Page's amount where MJF took the syringe, put it in his mouth, and then sprayed the contents, out when it was piercing his cheek. Um, I don't know what it was like being there. I'm sure if Kaliko was here, he would tell us. But from my perspective as a viewer, I kind of felt like there was a breath of air that kind of left the arena, and you could kind of see that a lot of people were uncomfortable with it. Um, and there was children crying you know, um, in the ring, in the ringside area, in the stands, I should say. So, I mean, I can't really blame AEW for doing it when there was kids around them. Like, I mean, I blame the parents for that. Like, you know what kind of shit these people do, and you're still choosing to bring your children. It's literally in the title of the match, a Texas death match, and you brought your child to it. Like, I mean, AEW has never necessarily been family friendly. So, I mean, this is not a surprise. But I thought it was a shameless, spot that really didn't do anything for the match. Because the match went on for like another 20 minutes. Like, if that was the ending of the match, was, okay, well, he put a syringe in his mouth and then he fucking clobbered him, then, that would have been, a memorable end to the match. But then they go 15 more minutes and, nothing, you even forget that that spot happened because they did more stupid shit that it lost its impact, even if it had impact. And it didn't have any impact. But, I mentioned, at the top of the segment, the dumb tack jack spot. For anybody that doesn't know, the dumb tack jack spot was between a wrestler named Dumb Tack Jack and um of a DJ Hyde. There you go, DJ Hyde. In a tournament of that four, I want to say it was tournament of that match. DJ Hyde proceeded to take a syringe, put it into Jack's mouth, and like very much like the spot that it he had with MJF. But what DJ Hyde proceeded to do, the contents of that syringe was lighter fluid. So when he sprayed the the fluid, it went onto a table that DJ Hyde proceeded to light on fire, which then proceeded to be the finals of the match. So there was, content. It 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 played into the ending of the match that made it memorable. It wasn't just a throwaway spot, just to be doing to be honoring other bullshit. That matches that came before it, but you're not even doing them justice because you're just doing, random bullshit. They did a glass spot. They did light tubes. Um, Lots of barbed wire. And I mean, and then the finish, I mean, it went so long, like 45 minutes, and it was just, mental masturbation of things that they wanted to do that didn't connect well. And, you just kind of lose, interest at that point. Like, when is this going to fucking end? Like, seriously. And then when you actually get to the end, it falls flat because it really didn't, do, and it wasn't anything significant compared to what they had been doing for the last 45 minutes. That's AEW logic, and I'll guarantee you that Tony Khan thought it was the best shit in the world, and it most certainly was not. These guys, you know, put a shortage on their career for a bad match. Like, I mean, when not Cactus Jack, Mick Foley, Mankind, when he did, you know, the Hell in a Cell match, you know, yeah, he he more or less, put his career, uh, he he um he ended his career earlier because of that match. But that being said, it was memorable, and people remember it to this day. So I mean, yeah, he badly damaged his body, but it was for a moment that people will remember forever in infamy. I'll forget about this match after I'm done talking about it. And that's, a shame because, like, as much shit as I give MJF, like, he didn't deserve to be in this match. Hangman obviously wanted to, likes doing matches like that, and, like, fuck him for doing it because, like, he's not good at them. I think I've I've said on this match enough. So I'm just going to say 2 stars and get out of here. So as a whole, um, wasn't their worst. Definitely wasn't their best. I wonder how I'd feel if this was, if I watched this 4 hours in total rather than spreading out after over 3 days like I did. Thumbs in the middle. Alright, that'll conclude our coverage of AEW Revolution and this episode as a whole. Thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, vote on YouTube and Castbox. This was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us next Tuesday and Wednesday for our interviews with Joe Bravo and Mo Kelly. And join us every Tuesday and Wednesday for new incredible interviews. Follow the show at Wrestling with E, both on X, Reddit, and Instagram for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. Follow me personally at JamesJ993. And you can follow Kaliko at I am Kaliko. And for Kaliko Yachts and Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.